What's going on, y'all? Who is Big Po? Part 2. Let's continue on with our conversation. Let's get one thing clear. Money was never my motivation when it comes to this rap thing. To be rich was not my number one motivation to be a rap thing. My motivation from being a child, rapping very young age, like 10, 11, 9. You know what I mean? And looking at the artists that were before me who were the trailblazers, you know what I mean? Especially such as like the ESTs in Philadelphia. Steady B's, the artist that was on the scene, the New York artists, just artists all around the world, but the Heavy D's, man, the posters on my wall, you know what I mean? KRS-Ones, and as well as the people in the community where I'm from, you know what I mean? Nation Threat, always being a young kid looking up to the guys who were older than me and they really could rap. My desire was always to be the best. My desire was always to be respected as a great rapper. That feeling of delivering the perfect delivery, flow style, or punchline, the wordplay. That feeling that of competitiveness at its highest plateau and coming out as the dominant one. That feeling was amazing to me. That was my desire. So I remember listening to the people from in the hood that was around me. They were guys 5 years older, 6 years older than me. And they were already teenagers. Here I am, like 11 years old, 12, like 11. These guys, and I was rapping already since 9. I was influenced by the hip-hop scene since like age 9. I mean, I came up on Michael Jackson and all that, but then just Run DMC just was like the world to me. You know what I mean? Back then, the LL Cool J's, the Crush Groovin' movie, and all that there. So these guys were like teenagers living, they out there rapping, I would hear them rapping, just be like, whoa, these dudes are blazing. And be like, I do my little rap, yeah, it's nice or whatever. But it was like nowhere near the level of theirs. These guys were like 5 years, 6 years older than me. They already going through puberty, you know what I mean? I'm just a kid. They rapping, they got more experience in life than me. But when I walked away from some of those ciphers, it was just like, I was so motivated, man, by guys in the hood, like such names as like Dallas, Al Slaughter, Marv, man, I'm dropping names. Marv, man, the Mike Bippers, House Grizza, Butter, Ice Cream Tea, y'all might know about Ice Cream Tea. She was amazing. She made the remix to the song. Will Smith had the song Girls of the World Ain't Nothing But Trouble. Back then she made the remix, Boys of the World Ain't Nothing But Trouble. And she also had some other banging stuff. Shout out to her. And just being like, yo, man, I want to be the best. I want the respect of my peers. Start working on my craft. Like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna be better than them. We called it back in the day. You called it going back to the lab. So I work on my style, work on my craft. I mean, just countless days, hours, countless. I mean, like when I go in, like how I've been going in lately, like when I go in, when I focus on something, especially anything really, but when I'm on that path, that rap, just bettering my craft, just wanting to just bring it to its highest peak, I'm zoned out, man. I'm talking about I don't want to do much of nothing else, but work on it. I want quiet by myself, just want to zone out. Okay, so mind you, they teenagers, they out, probably living, some of they slanging in the hood, slanging a little bit, with girls, and they doing their things, I think, and you got to think about a kid. I was like, at this particular time, probably like 11, ain't nothing to do but rap all day long. You know what I'm talking about? So just rap, just working. Man, I think probably give it like 6 months later, 4 months, I had zoned out so hard, man, that when I I'll never forget, when I came back out of the lab and started rapping with them in ciphers, each and every one of them I outshined. I never forget that. In different times, you know, rapping with this one, battle this one here, battle that one there, battle that one there, one-on-ones, you know, or they might not even knew it was a battle. But everything back in the day, everything, it was like if y'all rapping together, it's a battle because it's just that competition edge, that testosterone, that machismo. You know, you always rapping, you want to be the best. Whoever's there listening, you want them to like your stuff the best. That's just a fact. So, yeah, one by one, man, I outshined them all as a kid. And that's when I knew. I was like, yo. And seeing them look and be honest and even tell their own homies, like, yo, he got you on that. He won. This is the boy. He got ill. He's ill. Like, just hearing that was just like, yo, all the confirmation I needed that hard work pays off. And that I just knew that inside of me was a burning desire that nobody else had, to the level of the burning desire that I had to rap and be great at it. You know what I mean? So, went from being a kid to, of course, rapping middle school. Man, ciphers, Shaw Middle School, lunchtime, you know what I mean, in the bathrooms, just ripping it up. Bunch of great MCs, you know, in Southwest Philadelphia, just shining, man, tearing it up, man. Middle school, shout out to Montana. I remember him being like in a grade lower than me or whatever, being like a little younger, and he was nice. He was Nas from 55th Street. He was also the third member of Most Wanted. A lot of people don't know that. Third member of Philly Most Wanted. But yeah, Montana. If you from Philadelphia, that name should ring a bell to you, Montana. On the rap, when they did that, when they all went on Cosmic Kev, I believe, was Siegel and Lava and all of them went on Cosmic Kev. Montana was the one talking about Rock Gator Skins with my toes out. So bring, you know, his line. He got busy. Montana was a beast, but this was back in middle school. So Montana was just, he was a kid over at the, you know, cafeteria tables writing his lyrics and stuff. And I used to like encourage him and stuff like that. He would like read it off the paper to me or whatever, let me hear it or whatever. Cause I would always motivate him to bring it out of him because he was an introvert. I'll get into Nas at another time. But anyway, Shaw Middle School was amazing. Shout out to my partner, Howard. I was rapping with my man, Howard. Rest in peace to Howard. You know what I mean? Rest in peace. Bless his soul. But he was like my second rap partner. I think I used to rap with Bop first, but Bop was on and off with basketball back then. So me and Howard linked up. So we was going to the same middle school, and we used to link up to help fight off bullies together. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother story. And but we linked up and was rapping together. I forget what our rap name was. I want to say Untouchables, but I don't know if we ever settled on what our rap name was. But we had some couple raps together. We were really just putting verses together and just going against other duos, other MCs. There was some boys named Dave back in middle school. They was nasty. A boy named David James and another boy named Dave. I used to call him Big Head Dave. That's what a lot of people call him, light skinned boy. But it was just a lot of talent back then. And we would just be out in the line before lunchtime, repping and, you know, people hitting beats on the table, and I was just killing it, man. It was just a rap. I was loving it every day, lunchtime, just loving the audience. You know what I'm saying? I'm an entertainer, you know what I mean? That was what was always in me, to just outshine, to just turn it up, you know what I mean? So going on from middle school. Oh, also my man Feast, he was nasty in middle school. Hi Feast. Shout out to Feast. Feast was nasty. Me and him used to go at it real hard. You know, he was nasty. We used to battle it out hard. And then before you know it, he wanted me to be a part of his group. He's like, yo, man, I want you to be a part of our group. Come around. Feast was from 54th Street? I want to say 54th. Yeah, 54th Street. Between 54th and 55th Street. 54th Street came up there with Feast. Feast, Tez, and Kenny. They wanted me to be in a group. We was the Goodfellas, you know what I mean? Ended up being a group called the Goodfellas. Had this couple songs, Devils in My Eyes and Do You Want to Die? And I never forget going last. I had a squeaky voice. I was going through the voice change. I was only in middle school, you know, going through that, starting to come into your preteens or whatever, your voice start changing. So I remember going last. That feeling was amazing, going last on the verse. It was just OG from the hood, used to pay for our studio time. He probably was an OG slanging out there on that block or something probably, but he was an old head. Cool boy was paying for our studio time. I forget his name. Shout out to him. And shout out to Big Cliff, Kenny Big Brother. But yeah, and everybody was feeling us, man. And I remember my part. I went last. I was a kid. Just because the name is Goodfellas, don't think I'm a joke. Because if you play your cards right like a cigarette, you might get smoked. I had this squeaky voice because I was going through the voice change, but I went last, and I remember that feeling of just elevating the song. And just those early signs that's like, yo, dude, there's something special about you. You know what I mean? Because I was constantly working on my craft and I just wanted it more than everybody. You know what I mean? And it's like that to this day, man. That's why I'm it feels so good getting back into it to this day. You know, getting back into I always like rap, period, but all different ways of rapping. But just get back to this gladiator sport style of rap, just hardcore rapping, man, you know, a little uncensored, but just letting it out and expressing, you know, emotions, man. But if you listen to the music, even in some of my songs that are the darkest songs, you'll still get a message, you know what I mean? And like I said, I ain't fronting for nobody. I'm going off experiences and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I'm giving you something real, and I'm giving you skill at at the highest plateau, man. But back to greatness being my motivation and not money. If it was for money, I don't think I could do it now. And I'm not trying to get, I mean, who doesn't want to have money? You know what I mean? It's not, but my love for rap was never to be rich. My love for rap was just the authenticness of, it's something that was embedded in me, man. Just in our community, just like, yo, I can't explain it. I just feel as though I was born to rap. You know what I mean? Like the Games album, which is an amazing album. Born to rap. I was born to do this show. For real. I was born to do this. Trust me. I'll never forget, like I said, being a kid, rocking the EST. Remember EST, the act 3 times dope? EST, the act Nicholas 1, the greatest man alive. I mean, when he came out with that, unbelievable hit. I found out he was from Philly. I'm like, wow, amazing. Just killing it. Cool C. Ooh, ooh, you got it. The glamorous life. I mean, you talking about, it was like, yeah, you know, that's why Philly rappers, anybody that's in the streets of Philly can rap. They might not be the greatest, but they can rap because we all rap with a chip on our shoulder because, of course, New York being the mecca of hip hop, we always had that chip on our shoulder that you had to be really, really hot for them to accept you. Or they were trying to turn the cold shoulder to us. So I just was so proud of my city back then when EST came out holding us down. Steady B, you know, putting us on the map. You know what I mean? Of course, the old legends like Schoolie D, you know what I mean? Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince busting out with the brand new funk. Like, yo, Philly, it was like, yo, I love rap, but when you found out somebody's from Philly, it was like major to you. And I never forget being a kid, seeing EST in the gallery. I was blown away. You know, this back, we got to remember, there was no YouTube, there was no social media, there was no Twitter, no Facebook. You couldn't tweet these guys and like people do today, talk to them, they reply back or likes and all that stuff. It wasn't none of that. It was, all you get is if you hear them on the radio, see them on TV, maybe a video. That's it. You was barely getting interviews. So they were stars. You know what I'm talking about? They were superstars, man. You talking about to a kid. They were superheroes, man. So to be in the gallery, man, and then I think I was down there with my mom and just all of a sudden just noticed like EST, Larry, just the whole Hilltop Hustlers, they crew just coming deep through the gallery. The gallery is a mall in Philadelphia where it's like packed on the weekends. It's the place. Like the gallery was the place. So it was packed. It was like that. It's in the center city, which is in the middle of North Philly, West Philly, Southwest, Northeast Germantown. Like it's the gallery, dude, where everybody come. People get their rope snatched, bamboo earring snatched back in the day. People get robbed, rolled on, you get beat up, you know what I mean? You had to really, the gallery was real. And everybody came there to shop. The gallery was everything. Girls, everything. Ciphers, people rap there. You see people on the side rapping. The gallery was amazing. But I'm seeing EST in the gallery and just walking up to him in the ice cream parlor. And remember him signing my autograph, man. I couldn't have been no more old than 11 years old, man. And just be like, wow, EST. He signed my autograph on like the back of a receipt, piece of paper. You know what I mean? But I remember I had already had his album. I remember copying the album 3 times dope when it came out. The cassette, when you would open up on cassette tape, you feel me? And just EST, he had hits on that album, dude. He had to join, Should Have Been Like That from the Giddy Up. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, that album was pretty dope. Then also he had Funky Dividends. I mean, the boy was dope, man. He came out, remember the Gumby hairstyle, the part. It was like, dude, swag on 1,000, you know what I mean? But fast forward, I was probably a kid then. Fast forward like 11 years later, I meet him again at age, think about 20. I had killed the Source Unsigned Hype Awards. And at this time, I had the deal on the table with Jive Records. I was buzzing. You know, Philly was buzzing. New York, those label heads had their eyes on us because we were just breaking our way in, you know, before the YouTube era and all that. So Long story short, I think my man Rashid Arnold, great basketball player from Southwest Philly, Newt, y'all know Newt. That's a whole nother story. Great guy. He connected me to somebody, and then we all end up going. I want you to meet EST. I'm like, what? Hell yeah. I mean, at this time, EST wasn't out no more. He wasn't buzzing or none of that. But I'm like, what? The legend. It's a thing about respecting the great ones before you. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? Hell yeah, I want to meet EST. Go down there, North Philly. He's like in a crib or whatever, with like a studio inside of it. So I remember going in, we walk in the living room, I'm like, wow. And there he was. Like, I'm like, wow, that Nicholas one. Shook hands, respect, let him know that he was a great, you know what I mean? He loved the way I was flowing and everything. We stepped in the booth and exchanged some flows. He was like at all amazed by me. And then I was like, yo, him and his whole crew was nothing but love, was feeling me. And I remember letting him know, like, yo, man, you know, I met you before I was a baby. I was a kid, man. You signed my autograph, man. The gallery, y'all came through in the ice cream party. He was like, yeah, well, thanks. That's what's up, young boy. He was real humble, real thorough boy, man. And I remember him telling on his homies that, like, yo, young boy, he teaching me some stuff when we was exchanging verses. He was like, yo, he teaching me some stuff. We was in the booth. I was just like, wow. Like I said, that's another confirmation. Just feeling like, yo, I'm the one chosen for this. And just feeling all my dreams coming to fruition. They say your gift bring you before great men. Well, that was a great man. You know what I'm saying? And he still is. He's doing good, I believe, now in the game. He wrote that song. Ghost wrote that song for Beyonce. Me, Myself, and I is all I got in the end. And I found out I'm going to be my own best friend. I think he probably penned that from his soul, you know what I mean, from all the stuff he went through. And that day, I remember him saying how he liked me more than all the other different artists that he met from Philly that was coming out because of my spirit, you know what I mean? First, my style, but then the humbleness and everything. And I remember him warning me about what comes with those labels. You know, be careful with those labels, because he knew I had a deal on the table, how they let you do a whole bunch of spending on the budget. Then they recoup it all. You'll barely get no money off your album, you know what I'm saying? And he was just telling me, you know, watch out for those things and just watch out for the pitfalls, like drugs and all that. So that was just so thorough. That was like a dream. But like, again, that was once again confirmation of just seeing that was bigger than money to me, bro. That's why it wouldn't matter if EST was rich or poor when I met him. You know what I'm saying? It was like, dude, this is EST, that Nicholas one, man. Respect. You feel me? And that's what we got to do. We got to respect the game. I come in to respect this game. You know what I mean? And I think the fact that I'm a fan, that's why I'm starting this rap-related blog. Also, the fact that I'm a fan is the thing that makes me fantastic. You know what I mean? I appreciate the art, man. I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate the art. I study the art. I love the art of rap. You know what I mean? So I'm a fan, and that's what makes me fantastic. I'm a fan who met somebody who had posters of that. I just was like, that was like I guess a idol, a rap god to me. You know what I'm saying? To actually meet him in person and then them tell me that, like, yo, you're the one. You know what I mean? That was amazing to me, man. And I got many other stories, but I just wanted to touch on that. For me, the first desire was not money. Now, yeah, being in that street life, man, it burnt me out to the point where I was like, when my manager turned down my deal with Jive Records, and everybody else was getting their deals in, Beanie Siegel. I mean, at the time we all shared the same manager. We was all Beanie Siegel, Dutch and Spade, Philly's Most Wanted had their thing going on with Atlantic. Siegel had this thing going on with Rockefeller. Murder Mill, a lot of y'all might not remember his name. That's a rap legend from South Philly. That was Siegel homeboy. Murder Mill, they had the song Hot Boys, and you know how we ride out when Murder Mill, when Beanie Siegel did the song with the Hot Boys, when Wayne was just a young boy, he was like a little kid. You know what I mean? With Wayne, BG, and Juvie or whatever, or Turk or whatever, but Hot Boys, and you know how we ride out, Philly boys, and you know about the ride out. So my man Murder Mill, that's a whole nother story. But I remember his deal got accepted with Jive Records, and then my deal, my manager turned down my deal with Jive Records, and that just was like, that's a whole nother story, but that was just like heartbreaking because, man, I was like in the streets. I was tired of the streets, bro. I was tired of seeing our brothers dying. I was tired of dodging police. I was tired of court case after court cases, and I was tired, bro, of the whole street life and everything that came with it. You know what I mean? I was sick of it, man. And it's like, I knew I had this talent that was in me that was bigger than anything, that was bubbling up, you know what I mean? And it was like, yo, I know I was in the street life for many years, you know, slanging and all that. But it's like, man, I'm not ashamed to say I'm a rapper first. From my heart, from being a kid, I'm like, yo, man, I'm a rapper first. I got took in the street life, went in another direction, but I was still rapping when I was in the street life, you know what I mean? And it just came full circle for me. But like I said, losing train of thought a little bit, getting old, man. But like I said, when he turned down the deal for me, it was just like rough, because it wasn't just about the money. At that time, I did want the money because it was like, yo, I was ready for my signing bonus. At that time, it wasn't about independent. Wasn't nobody doing it independent like that. At that time, it was about you had to be hot to be accepted. To get a deal, you had to be hot. You had to be able to wow everybody, wow label heads. You had to be blazing, dog. And you was going at it with other hungry pit bulls. And y'all all you had to come out on top. Period. And I'm gonna go into more of that on part 3. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna end this one right here. It's part 2. It's bigger than money. You know what I'm saying? This rap thing is bigger than money. But yeah, like I said, I wanted the money at the time because it was like, yo, at the time when my deal got turned down, I was like, I've been doing this too long, man, grinding out here in these streets, man, taking all these risks and all this. Too long, enduring too much. You know what I mean? Come on, man, I can see my dream is right there. Give it to me. And somebody just didn't, like, nah, it wasn't the right deal. Now, it probably might not have been the right deal, whatever the case was in the time. Still pissing me off. You talk about a young kid, man, that's hungry. I just wanted out, bro. You know what I'm saying? But the motivation was never for riches. Like, the motivation has never been to get rich. Would I take getting rich? Heck yeah. But the motivation was always, as far as my love for the rap music, to be the best, to be respected, to be one of the ones. You know what I mean? Your boy, get ready for part 3. And I'll go into a little bit more.